I'm really thrilled to be able to be here today and just to introduce the topic of youth mental health. It's a topic near and dear to my heart. The work that we do at Wisconsin High School, we are working with a lot of different kids coming from all over the city and the suburbs. And what we're talking about really today, as we bring together a multitude of kids, teens, is a common problem. Challenges for mental health, emotional, behavioral, the stress that's being placed on youth today. The stats are staggering and scary. The mental health tsunami that's going on right now, and we all know what COVID did was not help it, but exacerbate it. To me, the stats from the CDC were just overwhelming when talking about ACEs, or adverse childhood experiences. When you start thinking about those events that youth are experiencing in our society, they were exacerbated by COVID. The CDC said that 29% of U.S. high school students lost or had a caregiver or a parent lose a job. The stress on a family during that period of COVID is amazing. And 55% of U.S. high school students had some sort of emotional abuse during COVID by a caregiver or a parent, and 11% physically abused. But the answer to those problems and some of the solutions that can be found, we believe, are sitting in this room. And that's why we're here. I'm most excited about the fact that we have high school students from a number of different places being able to gather together. One of the blessings of today, from my perspective, is the ideation that can go on across groups. So we're going to be able to divide and conquer and come back together again in our group. Ultimately, we wanted to see each of the 3 high schools that are represented be able to take some of your great ideas, because I think the solutions are in the room and it's from you. You know what's going on. I can give you the stats, but you know better than anyone what it is like today to be you. You're the expert, and that's why you're here. And so the purpose of today is to bring you together, bring all those ideas, let them percolate, pull out within your own group what you think are some of the best solutions, apply them to your location. Again, you know you better, and you know your high school and your community better. And then what we want to do is take the best of those ideas. So you're going to work on some things, you're going to get some ideas, you're going to sort them through your filter of knowing the experiences you have, the fellow students that you work with, and then you're going to pull it all together in a way that says, okay, here's what we think is the best out of our group. For our school, we like this idea. Let's present it. We'll have some experts here. They're going to evaluate it, and they'll finally say, okay, out of this high school, you had these 3 different options. We're going to give $1,000 towards that option. So you'll actually be able to win $1,000 to take back to your school to apply to the issue that you care about. And I know all of you care about this because it's affecting all of you. Today we're kind of sowing some seeds with the confidence that something's going to grow out of this that's going to be pretty dramatic. So thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this. I've spent fun in the planning, but this is what it's all about. You guys taking ideas, developing them, and ultimately bringing something to fruition.
Mr. C is going to lead session number 1 on empathy mapping. Then we're also going to fit in there a session around just unpacking that and uncovering particular problems and ideas. We're going to hear from Ms. Cecilia Gore, like Jeff said. Then we're going to do a root cause analysis and get down to the root cause. Like, what are some of the things that you're seeing that really, really matter? And then between lunch and session 3, that's where you get to create your pitch and your plan and your solution to the idea. And then we have our panel. The first thing I'd like us to think about is some of the norms that we want to have for the day around us, right? So like, we have people from across southeastern Wisconsin from many different backgrounds. Today we're going to talk to each other and learn and listen to each other across lines of difference. That's a big piece of this. I want you to take 2 minutes right now and turn to the people at your table. I want you to ask, what are the norms that we should have for today?
Being open, just talking about talking about it.
I think we said what we had to say. We spoke on it.
What are some of the things that you and your table talk about? What are some of the norms that we should have? As you raise your hand, I'm going to bring the mic around so that we can actually hear you.
The norms that my table talked about was being engaged, and then also coming up with as many ideas as you want, and constructive criticism, so not taking people's ideas and throwing them throwing them to the side, more of building on them, so that we collectively are coming up with great things.
One of the things we talked about was being mindful that everyone has a different story and that everyone goes through different things, and that we need to understand that even if we're ignorant of something in someone's life, we should be respectful.
That's Steve.
What our group talked about is that we all just have to be like open to sharing, but we shouldn't feel like forced to share, because a lot of us are strangers that we've never met before, and it's really uncomfortable to talk to strangers, especially if it's about something as important as your mental health. But not everyone's been through the same thing, but we can all just try and help you. So just don't be afraid to talk to other people.
For now, learning from what other people are doing and hearing what's happening at other schools is super duper important. Mental health means different things to different people. There's gonna be lots of different ideas. You're experts in your experience, but that doesn't mean you're experts in the work. And so listening and learning, that's a big part of what we wanted to do today, and why we explicitly had you not only sit with people from your school. You will be working with people from your school when we build your pitches. But for now, learning from what other people are doing and hearing what's happening at other schools is super duper important. Mental health means different things to different people, right? And we use a lot of these words, but you may define it differently than other people. Go around the table. I want each of you to say, to me, stress is. So finish that sentence. Stress is. 2 minutes to go around the table.
Stress to me is I feel like pressure. Because when you are in a kind of like a tight situation, you kind of get stressed out and get anxiety. So that's kind of what stress is to me.
Stress to me is being overwhelmed and not being able to fully do your potential and just feeling like you can't do something.
Way kind of a way with dealing with things is to feel stressed, and I guess it's a feeling of overwhelming.
My name is Jada, and I agree with you. I feel like that stress is overwhelming, and when it gets overwhelming, I feel like it prevents you from being yourself.
I feel like it's just really when you're under pressure on things. That's how I feel. There's positive levels of stress, but then after a certain point, even positive stress can turn into distress. So you have to be mindful of that gap, and that gap is not always the same for everyone.
The next question I want you to answer is, an anxiety looks like, finish that sentence.
An overwhelming feeling that you can't fall asleep over, or something that just overtakes your body that you can't it's hard to get away from, so you use different things to try to get away from it, like leg bouncing or just not speaking and stuff like that.
I don't know. I usually think about the physical, the sweating and the headaches and the chest pain and the heart racing and the, like you said, the bouncing and stuff.
The question is, when I feel anxious and stressed, what helps me be productive is.
Like I said before, I do try to find that paradise in myself. Sometimes I'll try not to think about it too much and just take a break from myself. I feel like there's different stages to how stressed and anxious you can be, and depending on how stressed I am, I will take a different approach.
An overwhelming feeling that you can't fall asleep over, or something that just overtakes your body that you can't it's hard to get away from, so you use different things to try to get away from it, like leg bouncing or just not speaking and stuff like that.
I got stuck. Ding. We had a moment to talk to each other and start listening to each other and practicing the norms and hear the names of the people at our table. That's not the hard work. Next, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. C, who's going to take you, and you're going to start doing some of the heavy lifting and heavy thinking of the day. Next, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. C, who's going to take you, and you're going to start doing some of the heavy lifting and heavy thinking of the day.
We're going to start now with trying to empathize with other people. And you all had a chance to share some of your anxiety and things that tip you off. And I like to, when I teach, I always like to humble myself to my students. And so the picture that you're seeing there is a very fat me, 102 pounds in kindergarten. And my brother to my left there, who was born with glaucoma. Now, if you didn't think that fatty and skinny with 4 eyes didn't get bullied, you got another thing coming. I was taught to be afraid of those people, to not like those people. What I've done with the things that have affected me emotionally, I've turned them into weapons. So I don't like lay down, I don't roll over and play dead. I never put my head down and go, sure. I fight. And I don't necessarily fight physically like I used to when I was in school, because I can't even tell you how many fights I was in. We're here to empathize right now. And I hope by me sharing a little bit of my background, that helps you a little bit. So what is it that might make you feel a little less in control of yourselves? What is it that's in your friends' worlds or your family that makes them or yourself feel like, I just can't handle this anymore? I want you at this point in time to separate in your mind, if you want to start to think about the stress and anxiety and mental health of your family or a family member, or if you'd like to think about that in terms of your friends or a friend, or if you'd like to think about that in terms of yourself. And then throughout the day, that will help you control the level of sharing that you feel compelled to do. You know, at some point, you can't let the demons get you down. And at some point, hopefully at the end of the day today, you'll feel stronger than you did when you walked in today. The first one would look like this, just to kind of get your mind going. Who are your closest friends? Now, as you think of this, you could think about particularly friends of yours that might be struggling. Some of you might be in a group of friends that help each other struggle. Okay. Some of you might be in a group of friends that are always struggling. Like, that's what you do. You hang around and you make each other miserable. And some of you might know what I'm talking about, and hopefully most of you don't know what I'm talking about. But if you're hanging around with people that bring you down, you have to ask yourself why that is, and maybe can we help fix that? How many of you, after you did fill in what you have, think that you'd like to have a focus today on your friends? How many of you would like to work on your family? And then who's more concerned about themselves? All right. At this point, we are gonna split you up into groups. And from here on out, you're gonna be at different tables with, again, different people. So, you know, you might think you have a great idea, but if nobody wants it, is it really that great of an idea? So you have to test that. And in order to do that, you gotta figure out, does anybody else think this is as great as I do? What you're gonna do today is we're gonna look for some things to bubble up. There might be, you know, on all these things and sheets and comments and thoughts that you all had, there might be some common threads that you might just stand out and go, whoa, like, we gotta nail this.
First of all, we're going to say thanks to the Brewers Community Foundation. And then we're going to say hi from Pathways and from Beloit and from Wisconsin Lutheran to Cecilia Gore. Shall we say together? Hi, Cecilia. Okay, so Cecilia's here, and we thanked her. We said hi to her. And then she's going to kind of snoop around and hear all the good things that you're saying to each other.
You had a school that had 500 kids that needed support. There was only one staff. Then someone needs to identify, 10 partners in the community that could address a variety of needs that are trying to address similar issues. Maybe we can create a partnership with a community-based organization.
We're not really helping. We're kids helping themselves. We're not really understanding what the kids need.
We're investing in our communities because we tend to invest in places where they already have the resources when there are people who really need them.
Good afternoon or morning. Thank you so much for letting me interrupt what looks like a really important process. Again, my name is Cecilia Gore. I'm trying to get all of that light there. My name is Cecilia Gore, and I'm the Executive Director of Brewers Community Foundation. And I have to tell you, it is really inspiring to see people, not just young people, but people going deep. Because in my opinion, what we do too much is we say hello and keep moving, or we post something and then move on. And we're not really digging deeper. We're not understanding that as individuals, we're complex. We have a lot to offer. We've all had experiences, but we're not taking time to get to know each other. So I'm actually very excited to see all of you in this room taking a moment to just think about who you are, who's sitting next to you, what kind of issues you're dealing with. And I only sat at 2 tables, and I feel like this is a room full of brilliance.
Yeah.
And so I want to thank you for being here. Just real quickly, I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm a lifelong resident. I went to Messmer High School, and then I went to Alverno College. And I've been working here at the Brewers for 14 years. And actually, I want to go back and sneak into our staff room and say, we need to go deeper. And I always say that if you really want to create excellence, you have to know the people that you're dealing with. And so what you're practicing right now and how you're teasing out information and really trying to get a sense of what's going on, how you feel about it, what others may feel, and understanding that is a really important skill that you will be able to use going forward in your schoolwork, in your work life, in your family. Try to keep this in the back of your mind, because I can tell you that this kind of work will really make a difference. So I wanted to share that, and you all might know this already, but there is a whole community of people throughout this country that want young people to succeed. We really understand some of the challenges that you're facing. I love that Jeff and others are trying to hear you differently than maybe we have in the past. And I think that you as leaders can encourage that kind of work going forward. So congratulations on your efforts. And I'll just stick around for a while. And I want to pop in on the other tables and just congratulate you on your work. Thank you.
Well, please listen to the wonderful words of Cecilia, because she just described what sports with a bigger purpose is all about. Getting down to the personal level, because we're all cheeseheads after all. And we're developing a purpose, a cause, and maybe a movement of young people that want to do good things with adults who listen and help them succeed.
And let me just say, related to sports, there's no team that's successful if they don't understand each other. So if you think about the teams that you've been on, if you just didn't know the people and you were trying to achieve a goal, you probably didn't win. But when you've won or when you've moved forward, it's because you have not played for yourself, you played for each other. And so that is on a team for baseball, football, community life. Whenever you see successes, people are playing for each other. They're not just focused on themselves. So for me, this is just an amazing skill that you're developing, and I look forward to the wonderful world that you're creating for us in the future.
It's a world that the Brewers had a role in, because in 2018, we were in this place, in the Bob Uecker room, and we were talking about Jackie Robinson's values with First Stage Theater. And those values start with mutual respect and understanding. So you have that team when you're going forward. So Miller Park and IFM Field, you had a part of this.
May I say one other thing? You mentioned Randy Crump and all of the work that had gone on related to engineering and the construction field when Miller Park, now American Family Field, was built. And Brewers Community Foundation has a scholarship that we present to a young person every year that focuses on construction. So if you're going into a construction-related field, then pay attention when you're going to access higher education and you're looking for scholarships, because we have that. And then we have another scholarship for the Selig Scholars, which is a 4-year scholarship. and then our players donate money for a player coach scholarship. So we normally open that up about mid-March every year, but keep an eye out for it if you're looking for scholarships in the future.
Now is your opportunity to pitch that. We have our 5 panelists, Brooks Griffin, Tasha Bell, Dr. Kathy Cute, Chris Rick, and Dan Nominson. We're excited to have them share their wisdom with you and for you to share your wisdom with them.
My name is Kania Kwawi and I am from Beloit Memorial High School.
My name is Anna Luna, I'm from Beloit Memorial High School.
My name is Seven Anderson, we're from Beloit Memorial High School. Our goal is to create an outreach group, and many of you have said that we have groups already in place, but they're ineffective and unreliable. So we're gonna try to reinvent those groups by electing students, teachers, and having a counselor in the background to fall back on in case these issues get too severe. In hopes that the group will destigmatize issues surrounding mental health, increase comfortability communicating these issues, and increasing productivity at home because many students are plagued, their grades are plagued by mental health issues. So hopefully this will increase productivity, raise their grades, and hopefully boost their self-esteem.
This group will make a difference by working over the gaps in our current resources. This group will also help students receive the 5 habits for emotionally strong people and destigmatize mental health. The 5 habits of emotionally strong people is metacognition, attention shifting, self-compassion, emotional tolerance, and assertive communication. Our group recognizes the cultural and racial issues while making a comfortable environment for all.
The money will be used towards advertising for resources for the group to ensure it lasts longer.
Outstanding job. Thank you for coming together and putting this together. Real quick question is, with the group, is it going to be multiple groups with 10 or 12 people in them, or do you see this as like one large presentation kind of format? What's the format of your groups?
So this group will be a large group. However, if it is needed, and a lot of people do need these resources, we will be able to break it up into smaller groups as needed.
Hello, I'm Michelle Moore. I'm a senior at Beloit Memorial High School.
I'm Xander Leanda. I'm a senior at Beloit Memorial High School.
I'm Tyler DeHady. I'm a junior at Beloit Memorial High School.
The biggest problem that we identified with mental health access within our schools is the fact that the kids are simply unwilling to communicate. We are placed in a position where we have the adults and authority figures to rely on, but us as kids don't trust them or feel comfortable enough with them to get the help that we need. So the solution we found to this is to create a peer-led support group that also offers one-on-one support therapy in case they don't feel comfortable speaking out publicly, or whether they just have a lot of deeper stuff they'd like to get into.
We believe that our solution will be effective because students already feel comfortable speaking to their peers versus speaking to authority figures. I know personally when I tried to get help provided from within the school, it ended up worsening my mental health because I couldn't afford what I had there. It led to isolation, misconception about my own feelings, and overall stress that I did not need.
Actually, the plan with the certified professionals is to not only train them, but also give them a sort of apprenticeship that could lead to them having an experience in the background of psychology and also possibly opening up jobs in the field of psychology as it's very much needed.
You talk about peer relationships, and you ever see yourself bringing the teachers into it or the other people in the organization, just so they're aware of what's going on?
Like Connie said, we do have select teachers we do feel comfortable with, such as Mr. C.
Right.
But for time being, just to get people into the idea, I believe it should be purely peer-led until consensus is agreed otherwise.
A lot of programs out there that can be implemented, so you can do a little research on that, but thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rihanna from Wisconsin, Lutheran.
Hi, I'm Perry. I'm from Wisconsin Lutheran.
Hi, I'm Azari from Wisconsin Lutheran.
Hi, I'm Lexi from Wisconsin Lutheran.
Hi, I'm Adeline from Wisconsin Lutheran. We were hoping to use the money that, if we win, or to win, for the purpose of a gala. And though that might not sound as productive, it's for the purpose of spreading that communicative awareness around our school, because we don't have, in our school there's not a lot of communication going around, maybe with your friends, but our friends can't help us with everything we need to talk about. And we have like 3 counselors and a therapist that comes in every Friday, but that can never be enough for a student body of 800. And we just want to spread the communicative awareness with this gala and, just spread awareness.
Communication awareness. Yes, you can talk to your friends, but like your friends only can tell you so much, because if, maybe they don't know what to say. Some things that are like causes of stress in school in general are like homework and overwhelming stress, but trying to meet those standards of other people and people in general.
So we would have student music entertainment, so like we have a steel band, so like they would like play, we have a choir, stuff like that. We would also do a student poetry slam in our auditorium where like the students would put their feelings into words and express what they're going through.
Just a couple logistic questions. So if I'm thinking right, so most of the budget, if we were to fund this project, a lot of the monies would go towards like the food and decorations and things of that nature. Who would be the planning team? I know that you all mentioned, tapping in with various like art clubs to really put the logistics together, but kind of asking to see, after you all plan this first grade gala, how would it look in 5 years in terms of that planning team?
Hopefully, first off, we want to have it student-led. So with the student groups, like, do the planning, come up with the ideas and decorations. And then in like 5 years, hopefully, the therapy and counseling is free. So people don't have to worry about that. And then it's just like a, not a problem. Because one of the other problems is like some students are getting pulled out of class to go to these therapy sessions, to have access to it. So like, we just want to make it way easier for students, so maybe they can go during a study hall or something. So yeah, hopefully it would just be covered by then.
We're from Wisconsin Lutheran High School. I'm Lauren and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Khan and I'm a junior.
I'm Noah and I'm a senior.
I'm Zach and I'm a senior. And the problem we're addressing is division between students. And we're going to do this by having a Pancake Friday.
Every week there will be a new topic, typically regarding mental health, but we would throw in some other topics for variation. It would be led by students who are members of Hope Squad, which is a student-to-student suicide prevention group. And occasionally, about like once a month, it would be depending, we would have guest speakers come in on certain topics.
First of all, it gets different types of people, or different groups of people together from all around Wisco. And this is good because we all come together because we're all from different areas and we all come from a different background, but everybody at some point experiences mental health. So it gets all these people together and it gives everybody a chance to listen. It's run by students, which talking to people like your peers is very good, and it's better than talking to like teachers or stuff like that. And because people have like some of the same experiences as you and can empathize with you. So it's run by students for other students. So
pancake mix is pretty cheap, so it would be pretty sustainable for a long time, and we just need a couple of griddles and toppings, and it'd just be a great way for students to come together, enjoy each other's company, and talk a little bit.
So you have a Hope Squad at your school?
Yes.
And how active is that Hope Squad, would you say? Or does everybody know there's a Hope Squad?
Yeah, everybody does know that there's a Hope Squad. We'd like to be a little more active with the student body, and we feel like this is a good way to do it.
Yeah, I think that if just engaging them and just making that organization that's already, there's been such effort put into it, to make it stronger and stable through this event would be fantastic.
What are some of the logistics for the Fridays?
Yeah, so since it's before school, we don't anticipate like a lot of people, like a ton of people coming. So, I mean, we'll see. We don't want to like advertise it too much where everybody's just coming in, but like we would like to have a lot of people there and enjoy some time together as student body.
I also too like pancakes. I like my pancakes with sprinkles on top. So yeah, still good. But just kind of, I love the idea again out of the box. How would you define success, right? You know, are you defining it by how many students are coming, or how many pancakes are eaten, or how many topics are talked about, right? How would you define success at the end of the school year, right? Or how many Fridays that you go through for the Pancake Fridays?
Well, we find success in how many new people are getting to meet each other and how many groups are being formed, and not just sticking to like kids that like band, or over here kids that like basketball, kids that like different stuff are not all together. We like to intermingle, and that would be defined as success.
Good presentation. Will you have some adult or expert with mental health included as a mentor or sponsor of your organization?
Yeah.
I believe in the peer support and student run and utilizing the Hope organization and building on that.
Yeah, so we have some counselors that are helping with Hope Squad, and we would hope that they wouldn't have to have a bunch of hands-on, but obviously we need them to be a little more organized, and like we said, we'd like to get like maybe like some guest speakers, and maybe that's just like a pastor from a different congregation of one of our conference schools or something like that.
We're from Lisco. I'm PJ. I'm a senior.
I'm Liam, and I'm also a senior.
I'm Jada, and I'm a junior.
I'm Alina, and I'm a sophomore.
Right, so the problem that we wanted to focus on and kind of tackle was feelings of like isolation and being like left out. So we wanted to kind of overcome that with what we are calling the buddy system, where if you are one of those students that feels left out, you will be assigned a buddy, which is just kind of a fellow student that can like introduce you to the school. So for like, if there's a transfer student, they don't know anyone at the school. They don't really know a lot of like the events and extracurricular activities that we have. So we would have a student that has become experienced with all those things, kind of be like their mentor and just kind of tour them around. And we wanted it to be a volunteer thing. So if you wanted to be a buddy, you would volunteer for that. It's not forced. You'd be able to volunteer. But in terms of who gets assigned a buddy, we would ask our counselors and as well as like our staff, our assistant principals, and our teachers. If they notice anyone like that, they would refer them to us, and then we could go and reach out to them. We also wanted to have events that kind of go hand in hand with this buddy system. So it would be like events for students in the buddy system. And we'd have like a speed dating thing where we kind of take all the people who have a buddy and we kind of like sit them down in groups of 2 so they can meet each other and kind of grow out of their buddy, so they don't have to rely on them and they can make other friends. We also, if we were to get the grant, we would use it as funding for some of the other events. Like we have skating or like a game night on there, and then since we're a Christian school, we'd obviously want to have like Bible studies for the buddies that they could do. And then since this is like a continuous program and it's not just a one-time event, after we've used up the grant, if we win it, we would partner with other clubs around the school, like our food club, to do like a bake sale to provide the funding that we need for future events. And then we obviously just want students in the buddy program to feel safe, and we want to stress that the buddies that are getting assigned, they actually like care about them as students, and it's not just like a job they have.
Just a question on the buddies or the one-on-one pairs. What do you all have in mind to kind of like ensure the effectiveness of the matches, right? Because I can only imagine, let's say, a transfer student comes in and then we match them with a kid or a student, and then the student moves, or the student is just like, I don't get along with that person, right? And they don't meet throughout the day. So are you placing any measures in place, right, to track how they're engaging, or outside of the events that you all are planning to plan?
I think to that effect, if a buddy is assigned to a transfer student and they think that they just don't like mesh well with that person or they don't get along that well, we could assign them like like a different buddy, or we could put some other kind of like workaround in place, I think.
I don't have a question, I just have another comment, and this kind of goes to all the groups ahead, is when and if you're awarded the money today and you can go ahead and implement your program, just keep in mind sustainability, because one thing I see with school programming is that when kids that are enthusiastic about a certain project, they start graduating, they move on, and so you always want to keep in mind who's going to take over when you're not there to do it, and make sure it stays with the school. So that was my comment.
Can I make a comment? Sure. So we are all different grades, and our whole Hope Squad is collaborating with different grades. And I believe the buddy system, again, would have different grades. So I believe there would be passionate individuals from each grade, and then passing that passion along to the next grade. So we're coming. Perfect. Thank you.
I'm Nick from Pathways 5. We got.
Hi, I'm Ariana from Pathways High.
I'm Alex from Pathways High.
I'm Andre Bion from Pathways High.
So we're from Pathways High, which is a charter school that uses project-based learning. It is a relatively small school, and a lot of people at our school have sound sensitivity or general sensory issues. And so our issue that we were trying to address is how to make a sound safe space.
So the problem that we're trying to solve is how do we create a sensory safe space for the students at our school who may or may not be aware of their sensory issues. This is a rough estimate, but 1/3 of our school population deals with sensory issues. They may or may not know, but this space will be available for any student that may think they have those sorts of issues. And even if you don't have that sensory issues, it's a space for students to do their work in a quiet environment. So maybe you just need a quiet environment to do your work, this is for you. But also, schools are known to be very loud environments where screaming, shouting, just a lot of loud things happen. And the Environmental Protection Agency reports 75 decibels as the average over 8 hours. Schools generally can be higher than that at 130 decibels. Oh. So the solution that we have is to create a sensory safe room for students to calm down and work in a quiet environment. The space will be quiet, an inclusive place for everyone, like I said previously. It's kind of like a version of the Hope Squad for our school. And this will be student-led with staff help in the early years, so we can train students to be able to facilitate this area for the students. Now, you may think this is just a way for them to get out of schoolwork and such, but because we are a project-based school, we are thinking that the students in this, as who would be doing the training and such, would be able to create a project based off of it and implement it as part of their schoolwork.
Alright, so the budget we would have for this, the total would be about $426 as the starting, and that includes soundproofing the walls, floor pillows, like a floor couch, soundproof headphones, low lighting lamps, floor table, and fidgets. But we would like to include hotlines. So some that were at the top of my mind were the Trevor Project and like the suicide prevention helpline, and then we might be able to use like the remaining money to maybe get like something from this program called BetterHelp, which is like a bunch of therapists.
I really love the budget that you all took the time, right, to really itemize the budget as well. I even love that you all came underneath budget, right? So the follow-up question I would love to ask, and I know that you are all talking about the additional things, but how would you look at spending the additional $500, but more so with the sustainability lens, right? Knowing that you can spend $500 to get more art supplies or more things to fill it up, but like, how would you leverage the rest of that budget to assure that, you know, the sensory rooms are great, training opportunities are there to really see your dream come true?
So like the extra budget, I would say we would maybe put it into like a savings type thing. So like if something gets ruined, so like for say a floor couch like gets a giant rip in it, we would be able to like replace it so we aren't using ran down equipment over the years. And then we could also maybe use it to like get some fundraising so we could have get some more stuff so the students with sensory issues can have stuff so they can actually work in the classroom with the other students. So like maybe invest in some better earbuds, more like headphones for students, and stuff like that. Yeah.
To add on to that, we are only 4 students part of this community. So getting more opinions from our community on what we should spend this budget on is very important to us.
I think this is a dope idea, and I love how you all looked at the need that is within your school. So I think that's amazing. What type of training would the students who are leading and managing this area, what kind of training would you offer to them?
It would probably be along the lines of like how to, so we would have like a teacher like lead us through on like how to manage a class kind of. We would also, I would hope we could have Miss Brandy like talk us through or like provide us with some resources on like how to like comfort people when they're in like high distress and stuff like that.
You had mentioned something about sensory awareness, and 1/3 of your students may fall into that category. Are they self-identified, or are they identified through other assessment means that maybe the professional staff has used?
At least the people that I know,
Sure.
we've all kind of been like, we've all like identified that loud noises overwhelm us, but there are some that just like don't really realize it yet, and they don't realize that it is a part of sound sensory. They just think they're like abnormal would be the right word.
They basically got used to it.
Yeah, they got used to it.
Yeah, we also already have systems where we've had a lot of people who aren't able to just sit in the lunchroom, that we already have these groups of people who sit outside in different classrooms, and we've identified this. We also were able to talk to Megan, a staff member, who was like, it was just a rough estimates, but that is what she assumed that it was like 1/3.
Good afternoon. Yeah, thank you. That was a great response. So starting off, our pitch is let's get active pathways high, which is building culture and connections through social relationships in our school. I am Kyla Chester Hopkins. I am a senior at Pathways High.
I am Shakayla Caldwell, and I am a junior at Pathways High.
I'm Gianni Houston. I'm a sophomore at Pathways High. I'm Caleb Heller, and I'm a sophomore.
So a little bit about Pathways. We are located in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We are diverse by design, and our mission is to unleash learners' potential now, which is basically through providing a variety of opportunities to the students that go to our school, whether that's through internships, apprenticeships, job shadowing, or our 5th year, which you can learn about a lot more about on our website, because we don't have enough time for that. But by the end of leaving our school, students are confident in their career choices or what they want to do after college. I'm a student that can say I am proudly one of those students who is confident in what I'm going to do after graduating. So the problem that we are mostly decided to focus on is the school experience and the social aspect that students have. Many students, like myself, had the anxiety going into high school of how am I going to make friends, having the social anxiety, feeling like you could be rejected by trying to join a group of people or really finding people that fit you. So we really wanted to tackle that problem, because when you go to a school and you don't feel like you are involved or you feel like you belong, you don't try to, or you don't really know how to navigate school as a whole.
We came up with 3 solutions. Our first one was a social solution. The second is physical, and third is mental.
So we believe it's important to foster like relationship between students having interactions with each other, like student mentors, or like sitting with new students every like class or lunch, or just like we will mix it up Mondays and Wednesdays and have like common interest games and town hall, or just having student run support groups, student culture conversations, just getting to know and getting the feel of the vibe of somebody else that you wouldn't normally talk to.
Our physical solution is to feel like it's important to connect to other students through teams, building, and leadership activities throughout engaging in our wider community. So our ideas was to have outdoor activities, getting out the school building, partnering with local organizations like the neighborhood house, impact experiences, road courses, camping, wilderness trips, rock climbing, and beautifying our school. Students created mental health and awareness posters and resources.
So our mental health solution, our school now has a creative coping course where students talk about their coping mechanisms and they share them with the wider school and school community. Also, our mural seminar, where we beautify our school. And then financial aspect, we can talk about it if you have questions. Thank you.
I love the way you're focusing on the different aspects of yourself and people and their needs. This is a lot of stuff. Who coordinates all this? There's a lot going on here.
So we talked that most of the things that we do are based on student interest because our school loves sending out surveys. So if, say, 80% of our student body was interested in doing a camping trip, then that will be coordinated and planned by students and also teachers because we don't know all the logistics of how to plan a camping trip. But if students have interest in this specific thing, then that would be our best way of figuring out what we're going to do and where we start.
How do you see yourself kind of starting that strategy or starting that first initiative that will keep that momentum moving forward?
Yeah, so majority of like our financial aspect would be based on the activities that we do either outside our building or inside our building. Like a lot of the social things are free. A lot of like the mental health related things are free. It was more getting out of our school building and also having the materials to do things like, say, if we wanted to order journals for students so they can journal and write about things going on in their life. That would be one aspect of it, or transportation when we're going somewhere, food for lunches, because for a lot of impact experiences, which are basically field trips that we have now, students have to pay student fees for it, but we don't want to have that cost burden. So the money would help allow students to feel more comfortable engaging in the activities and the experiences that we do.
Obviously, we're from Pathways High. My name's Piper. I'm a sophomore.
My name is Marielle. I'm a freshman.
I'm Adriana. I'm a junior. So we defined one key question and problem throughout our school, and that's how can we make mental health more accessible for Pathways High students. We decided on 3 solutions to this. One of them is destigmatize, and how we would do that is we have weekly kind of assemblies called town halls, and we would have one monthly, one focused on mental health, just to kind of push it in our faces and make it more regular. And we would also have speakers to come in. We could pay them using some of the budget that we would set aside, or they could also volunteer for this. And we think that would be a very good way to kind of normalize it. It would also be very transparent. It would kind of be honest. It would obviously push us towards accepting that mental health is real and everybody struggles with it. And yeah.
To make this more of a culture-based project and have us being more social, we decided to do a mural that would leave an everlasting mark on our school, so whoever enters the school building can see how much we care about the students, because that's the whole point of going to school. It's all about the students, and basically making our school look more appealing. And what they say is you can't really erase paint, but you can always add more onto it. So we would have different hotline numbers on it, just symbolism. It would include diversity of anybody, just so you can feel more welcomed and know that mental health is not something you should be ashamed of.
And obviously, the students make up our school, so all of the students would be doing this. We would probably have Miss Brandy kind of oversee some of it, as well as Miss Megan, our art teacher. And obviously, some of our funding would go towards paint for it. We would also be putting posters on each floor in the stairwells to kind of push all of the hotlines in our faces.
How would you train these volunteers?
We would obviously have our counselors and some of the teachers kind of volunteering to oversee it as well. We wouldn't just kind of let the students have free reign over it, but we would kind of just educate them on the responses and how to know if something is serious enough to bring it to obviously a teacher or outside people outside the school's attention.
I love the way that you're making it very aware that this is not something that we need to hide, and using the mural to do that is, I think that's right, and I think that's really cool to do.
Our panel is going to caucus for approximately 10 minutes to pick the pitches from each school. They are going to award the $1,000 to. I'm glad I'm not on the panel. That's going to be rough.
I got 10 for both of them when I ranked them up.
I didn't rank yet. I had them tied as well.
Okay. Me too.
And the one-on-one, I like the one-on-one opportunities that they were talking about. I did like how they talked about the apprenticeship, though. That was out of the box.
The one thing I liked was the 5 habits of emotionally strong people.
I liked the buddy system because you have There's that one-on-one interaction with people. The problem is, how do you identify people to be in the buddy system, and how do you train the right people to be the buddy?
Right.
There's a lot of potential pitfalls in that, but if it's done well, I really think it would be very good.
Free therapy, like
Yeah.
super clear, and that's something that is like, that is a thing. You can constantly do that.
As a group of judges wanted to encourage consideration as you go back to your school to have all of your groups get together, because there were parts of all of your presentations that if we can just kind of merge them together, it would be more outstanding than just awarding one of the activities. So we all felt that you guys did a fantastic job, and there are pieces and parts of everyone's presentation that was great. But getting to it, Beloit, we went with group number 1. Group number 1, the first team from Beloit.
Group number 1.
Come on up, the first group from Beloit.
One comment that I wanted to make, this would go to all the schools, is that when you're starting your programming, don't always reinvent the wheel. There's so many programs that other schools and other areas are doing. Do a little homework, take the best of the best.
The 5 habits was amazing, and the fact that you named that was wonderful for us, so thank you for that.
We had 3 different teams from Wisconsin High School. Drum roll, please, from Wisconsin.
We went with the gala approach. Team number 1, we love the idea. We also love that you see the importance of school counseling, and I really hope that this programming and a fun gala with all the different aspects that you mentioned, including the poetry slam, speakers, art club, etc. I think it'll bring a lot of awareness to a lot of different ways of coping and resilience. Anyone else?
More appropriate? Yes. Rename it from gala to something that's
more youth focused.
All right, pathways. The winner is group mannequin challenge. Group number 1 with the sensory room. Yeah, we thought this was really a great one to find as well, specifically how specific you were to your school's needs. I think that this is the why behind why we're doing it, right? To identify 1/3 of your school of how they can be impacted right by this vision. It's something that we all struck chord right through all of our hearts. So we still have questions right about sustainability, right, of house cleaning and making sure things are COVID clean, right, using earphones and headphones. But to have an itemized budget as well as a savings, I think I need to take some notes for you all, my personal budget. So I got you all. Thank you.
These are all made possible by the Mars Family Foundation. And the Mars Family Foundation is set up by Sean Mars and his wife and their kids, and it's really dedicated to trying to leverage resources so that they grow. Their whole goal is really to help you connect with other charities, with other organizations, and to grow charitable capacity. So they want to invest in youth especially, and then connect with other foundations, other groups, support foundations in growing, especially family foundations, community foundations. And so we'll be working with the schools to get you that funding, and then you'll be reporting back some of your results. But I go back to that idea of leveraging. I think take the results of what you have and continue to try to connect with other organizations like, well, I don't know, maybe the Brewers Community Foundation, I don't know, or the Charles Company Foundation, just a little hint. Because that's exactly what Sean Mars Family Foundation is all about. So we are really excited that they were willing to support this, and others were able to invest to their time and understanding that this is a major issue, but it is not insoluble. Together we can do something that we can't do alone, and it is always about being together in this work. So thank you for all the work you did to join with us, and all the work you did to join with each other.
And there are just a couple closing things. Number 1, keep the Brewer Community Foundation in your thoughts, because we're here because Cecilia and others thought you were important, and what you're doing is important. And I told her as she walked out, for those that were at Lambeau, Mr. Murphy he was going to spend 15 minutes with you guys and gals. He spent an hour, right? He had an impact that matters. Cecilia came in, she was budget time, busy, very important. She stayed about an hour. She listened. She was impressed. She heard youth voice. And that's really what this is all about. Youth voice, youth matter, youth implement the challenges, address the challenges you have. It's so powerful.
older generations now actually care about the things that we're going going through, and also know that we can cause change and our voices matter. In a sense.
I thought today was honestly just like so amazing to like hear everyone's voices. They're able to bring like a public, private, and a charter school, kind of see what everyone else implements. That we thought we had some like really great ideas, and I think that we can not only implement like the winning ideas from the pitches, but also other things. It's also great to just meeting people from all these other high schools.
Okay, so today basically it has shown me that people really do care about mental health, like even adults or kids. It showed me that people really want to make a change, and that it could and it could possibly get better.
Okay, first off, I want to thank the judges. Thank you very much. It definitely means a lot. And then for Beloit, for the youth in Beloit, I just want y'all to know that y'all could do this too, and you guys all have a voice. Be sure to use it.
Honestly, being here today means the world to me because my entire journey through high school has been based around mental health and learning how to operate through mental illness and how to cope properly. And just to see other people and share the same space with people who are as passionate, if not more passionate, about the topic of mental health and mental well-being as me, and to get ideas of ways I can further help my community improve their mental health through the ideas of everyone around me, because everyone had great ideas. I honestly and genuinely can't say anyone had a bad idea. So to take in all of this was just such a great experience for me.
I really loved today and the experience we got to have, and how it's not just me and people at my school that want to make change, but everybody else here wants to make change. And if we can all come together and do it, then I know what's going to happen.
No, this is a great event. Super excited that we got the invite to be able to participate. We would love to have you all at FISA Forum, whenever the time may be. So definitely look forward to connections. But my advice, right, is to believe in yourself, right? I'm born and raised from Milwaukee, grew up with mental health challenges myself. And even when I had the opportunity to join the Bucks, I'm like, that's not me. I can't make a difference. I can't apply for this, right? But just off a chance, right? But then also having supportive adults by our side that also believes in you, dreams can come true, y'all. So this is the first step, right? This is presentations. These are skills that you all are going to use in your future, right? And y'all blew it off the park. So I definitely want to commend each and every one of you all, and again, encourage you all to work together on your pitches.
For those of us that sit up here, we are more inspired by y'all. So I hope that you all will continue to pressure us to support you and listen to your voice, right? Like we have all have our own lived experiences, but we have learned so much from listening to you all. I wish we could have had more time today, but I hope you take the time to connect with your peers outside of this space, because I can see the power in what y'all are looking to do.
The whole gathering of people and sharing of ideas is extremely important. I'm glad to see young people like yourselves involved in that process. I'm a great believer in becoming resilient. Not all of us are, but doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be come from a background of means or whatever. It's really how you think about things and how you act in this life. So consider being resilient and hardy along your journey in terms of being more mentally healthy. Thank you.
And from a funder of mental health projects, I just want to say youth mental health is the thing that needs to be served right now, and it's going to happen from the youth. So continue the work you're going to do. Do not go south on it. Do not feel you're not supported. Find the people that are going to support you and get these projects done, and congratulations to everybody.
We are all broken, right? We all have our own brokenness that we've struggled with and that we've had challenges with, but we've all come through them, and all of us have the opportunity to understand how we've been formed and fashioned because of them, which makes us all have a great opportunity to impact so many more people. Right now, mental health is an outstanding need in the communities where you are all at. I'm going to encourage you all to take this outstanding opportunity to impact other people, not in just your school, in your families and in your homes and in your congregations and in other schools and all around your community. Thank you for impressing all of us, and blessings on all your work in the future.